Okay, so this video is for our misleading graphs page. So where we're going after the misleading graphs are these two-way tables. Because really the only visual graph that we have for categorical data are the bar charts that we talked about, these bar charts, and the pie chart. The only other thing that you can do with categorical data is this thing called a two-way table, which isn't really a graph. You can call it a graph, but it doesn't look like the other graphs that we see. So before we get into these tables, I want to go over what you should not do if you're making a bar chart. So this most specifically applies to bar charts. So I'm going to highlight the 3 things that you shouldn't do, and then we'll fill them in. There's 3 things that you should not do. So our first one is creating different widths on the horizontal axis. That's bad. Creating different widths, and that space isn't big enough, I apologize. Creating different widths on the horizontal axis is bad. So this bar chart that you're seeing below, I know it's a bar chart because the graphic is not touching, except for over here to the right, your bars get so big that they have to touch in order to fit on the graph. So that's one issue. The other issue is the size of the bars. So I want to look at this one nope, this one. That one? Nope, that one. Okay, so I want to look at the one that's right next to 1995. So this little orange bar there. This bar chart is telling you how many stores Starbucks has worldwide. So it looks like, oh, I highlighted the wrong one, family. I meant to highlight this one. That's okay. I really wanted that one. Guess what? Now this is in video forevermore. Teacher of the year. This is really the one that I wanted to look at. So this is approximately 1,000 stores. So if you drag this over and look at where it's at on the y-axis, in 1996, Starbucks had about 1,000 stores worldwide. So in 2003, how much was it? About 6,000. Roughly 6,000. So in 1996, 1,000. In 2003, 6,000. How many times bigger is it here? 6. So if we times 1,000 by 6, you would get 6,000. So between this graphic and this graphic, it's only supposed to be 6 times as big. What that means is you would take this little bar, and this bar should only be 6 of those. You should be able to exactly fit 6 of these into this bar. Is that how it's drawn? No, it's way bigger. You could probably fit like 40 of these in this bar. So the issue with this one is that it is going to make the differences look different than they really are. So here, I'm just going to write down that 2003 should only be 6 times as big, but it looks like much more. So if you use different widths, it's going to mislead the person looking at it and potentially make them think that there are bigger differences than there really are. So we don't want to use different widths. The biggest reason is because it's not going to represent your data accurately. The next one is using pictures instead of bars is bad. So different widths is bad. Using pictures instead of bars is bad. And it's the same reasoning as before. If you look at Burger King compared to McDonald's, really McDonald's is only supposed to be 4 times as big as Burger King. Burger King had about $11.3 billion in sales, and McDonald's had $41 billion. So that's only about 4 times as big, which means you should only be able to fit 4 Burger Kings in that space. That's way more than 4 Burger Kings. Would you agree? So the problem is that the pictures make it so that you have different widths on the bottom. Pictures usually make it so that your widths are different. So pictures make it hard to have consistent sized bars. You're okay on that one? Okay. And then the last one is the most frequent one, I would say. And this is when you start your vertical axis at a number other than 0. So not starting at 0 is bad. Not starting your graph at 0 is no bueno. Not good. And you have 2 examples of this below. So here, what we have is data on the unemployment rate during 2 different presidencies. So this left-hand one is the Clinton years, and this right-hand one is the Bush years. But notice, if you go over to the y-axis, you're starting at 5 instead of 0. So let me show you what this graph would have looked like if you would have started at 0. And I do think that it might be helpful if you do just a quick draw. If you would have started at 0, these 2 bars would have looked like this instead. Maybe a teeny bit shorter. So maybe like that. And this would have been Clinton, and this would have been Bush. So is there a difference between the 2 administrations? Yes, there is definitely a difference between the 2. But whoever made this graph has made the y-scale in a way that makes it look like there is a huge difference between the unemployment rate between the 2 presidencies. So this is probably somebody that's in politics, and it's looking to me like they're trying to make it seem like Clinton did a better job, or no, actually Bush had done a better job with decreasing or lowering the unemployment rate, because his was only 5.18 and Clinton's was 5.2 something. When really, if you would have included the entire scale, that difference would not be big at all. Does that make sense what happened there? So this one makes small differences look big. Makes small differences look big. There is a difference between the 2 presidencies, but it is not as big as this graph makes it out to be. So then the last graph has all 3. The last graph has all 3 issues. So first thing, the bars are different widths. Second thing, you're using pictures instead of bars. And then third, you are starting at 44.5% instead of 0%. So besides that it makes the small difference look big, what is the other issue this graph has? So I want you to think about it for like 45 seconds. I'll set that up again and then I'll stop talking. What other issue does this graph have besides that it makes the difference between these two look big when it's not? Like 30? $10? See you, babes. Okay, let's see if you were able to find it. This PS3, this is a preferred gaming version. This PS3, 49% of those that participated said they prefer the PS3. About 46% say that they preferred the Xbox. But those two numbers do not add to 100. What do they add to? 90? 95? Which one is it? Did you add them? Now you worried me. I'll add them. 95? So where's the missing 5%? Here. 5% of people said neither, but because they didn't start the scale at 0, this graph makes it look like nobody said neither. But really, 5% did. Is that making a little bit of sense? Okay, so now we know. No, these are no, don't do them. Don't make your bars different widths. Don't use pictures. And always start at 0. You feel okay about that? Okay. Remember to watch your videos on Friday, and then Tuesday is a work day for you guys to ask questions and get work done.